We're ready to go racing. The final race here on Saturday at the Revival. All set to go. The Whitsun Trophy is underway. Actually, it's a really good start from James Davison on the outside of the front row. The silver McLaren M1B. Yeah, it's James Davison who launches into the lead, gets in front of Stuart Hall. From pole position, goes into second place. Ollie Bryant, I think, has been pushed down to third.
Yeah, so not an ideal start for him. With a little bit of wheel spin, but everyone's fairly nice and clean, Ben, which is always a good sight to see. Through the fast first corner, now they're through the very fast Ford water and heading down into St Mary's, but not the ideal start for Oliver Bryant, so he'll be looking to try and clear James Davison pretty quickly.
Yeah, not going to be easy. Meanwhile, it's a good start by Ewan Sergeson. He's in that red Lola T70 that's leading the next little group. So running in fourth place, but actually coming under a bit of pressure from Mick Padmore. Padmore goes around the outside. Ewan actually started in eighth, so he made good start there, but he's just dropped to one place now as they go on to the La Man Straight. This is where these big Chevy and Ford multi-powered engines are really lighting up. This is where you're seeing the fastest cars in a straight line here at Goodwood.
Yeah, you can see they close down and bunch up under braking. It's very, very tricky part of the circuit going into work because you're turning and braking at the same time, but they've really bunched up now, the top three, as they're streaming through to finish the opening lap.
Yeah, this is proving to be a good one for James Davison. It really was a good getaway. But as expected, behind, we've got the battle between Stuart Hall and Ollie Bryant. As last year, we saw it was all pretty close between them. Now, we've got Tony Sinclair just up behind the number 22 car there of Julian Draper as well. Here comes Ollie Bryant trying to attack for second. Doesn't quite make it work yet. And for the moment, Stuart Hall, who had that pole position, still hanging on to second place. But their fight, I think, is dropping them away a little bit from James Davison.
Yeah, sorry, I made a mistake there earlier on. It was Davison that got through into the lead. So Bryant is chasing Hall. So these two are very, very fast experienced, but like you said, Ben, they are scrapping, and that is allowing Davison. He set the fastest lap of the race, and he's gone purple in the first sector, a good 6/10 faster than the two behind him. So they need to either sort themselves out very quickly, otherwise it might be too late. We've still got 22 minutes remaining, but as we know, that can go very quickly.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So I wonder if Ollie Bryant, he's beginning to move around. Look at these, the car in the back there trying to get past Stuart Hall. Hasn't found a way past yet. These are big cars, of course, so you've got not as much space as some of the cars we have here at Goodwood, which are so small, like the Formula Junior cars, very thin, light, very quick as well. Looking forward to that race tomorrow. These Can-Am cars are bigger, powerful, but you find it harder to get alongside sometimes.
Yes, you certainly do. So Davison's setting fastest lap of the race once again in the 120. So the only driver in the 120s, the two drivers behind him that are scrapping are in the 121s. Gap 0.8 of a second, so it's not massive. But at the same time, you don't want it to get bigger and bigger. You want to make the benefit of the turn. It looks like they may have ever so slightly closed the gap there going into St Mary's.
Yeah, this is all the game, and of course both Stuart Hall and Ollie Bryant have so much experience here at Goodwood, and James has raced here at Goodwood in the past. He's a current racer as well. He's a pro racer, James Davison, who's leading at the moment, the Australian. But let's wait and see how this goes. Good battles in the GT40s as well. Just coming through on the inside there is Pedro Macedo Silva. A bit further down the order this, but going well with the open top GT40. One of the very rare versions. It's lovely to see it racing. That is, we're looking down in about 14th position that I think he's just managed to take. And we've still got other battles going on further down here. The number 30 car as well of Max Werner, one of the Lotus cars, further down the list, but enjoying a great tussle with some of the Ford GT40s.
Yeah, some great tussles wherever you look at the moment, but back to the gap in front, 0.7 of a second now, so it's come down ever so slightly, and Bryant is now in the 119s, and actually so is Hall as well. So they are the only two that have dipped into the 119s, so they are now sorting themselves out a little bit, going, okay, come on, we've still got a while left in this race, let's not battle too early on. We don't want Davison to get away.
Absolutely, they ought to work together in a way, using slipstream and not attack each other too much. much. Meanwhile, Katsu Kubota running in 7th position at the moment, coming under a little bit more pressure now from Adam Seitz in the McLaren. So it's Lotus versus McLaren, both anniversary, a year for anniversaries for both Lotus and McLaren this year. These are the big sports cars from the 1960s that particularly raced in America. They were allowed to race in this country for a while, but then they sort of limited the big capacity machinery a little bit. But in America, McLaren went on to dominate in what they call the Can-Am series, these sports cars. And it was a big part of the McLaren team having enough money to do Formula One in those days. Can-Am actually, I think, earned them more money than Formula One did, amazingly. Very different stories now, but that's how it was. Sports car racing was at that stage a very, very big part of motorsport. Could get alongside.
Yeah, having a little look, continuous scraps going on further down the order. They're still scrapping or closing down into each other at the top end of the field. Having a little look at the chicane. No room there. Correct decision. That door was always going to firmly close as they stream across the line. Oh, we've got someone there trying to pick out the number with a hand raised.
That Max again. Let's just have a look. Yeah, it is Max Werner. Max has obviously got a problem. You can see a bit of smoke from the back.
Yeah, and that's very good of Max.
A leak. It's a leak.
Looks like, yeah, that is dropping. Now, I just hope that is water and not oil, because that will make it particularly slippy for anyone coming round. There's no real other line he can take through the chicane, as he's done the right thing, put his hand up and will peel into the pits. But yeah, that's not ideal at all. So let's hope that won't affect the circuit too much.
We've got a few cars in the pits. I saw 61 and Max Lynn coming in. I also saw that Ewan Sergeson was in the pits in the number 58. So we've got a few cars that are not in great shape at the moment.
Yeah, the Sergeson car, number 58, has got the black and orange flag. That is basically a technical issue or something maybe hanging off the car that shouldn't be. So a few drivers have peeled into the pits, but they're just looking now. I'm not sure if the oil has slowed anyone down. To be fair, though, they're not setting personal best in that middle sector. Here's
a little move by Peter Klutt. He's been given a wave to say, yes, you can go through, and he does so. So Peter Klutt managing to get past Tony Seiler. Peter Klutt's that GT40, that's a lovely car, a prototype. This is one of the earliest GT40s. It tested here at Goodwood. It was one of the first GT40s that they got out there to do the testing, and it's still there, it still exists, and it's racing at Goodwood. I mean, it's great history. Oh dear, that's not good for John Spears. He was one who started from the very back, and
made his way up to 13th.
Right, okay, so he had made decent progress, but clearly something's gone wrong now.
Yes, I'm not sure if that's a spin on its own. That looks like the exit of the final corner, the chicane, because there's the pit entry. Yeah. Leads out nicely, keeps out the way of everyone, so great job recovering, but huge shame. This is going to drop quite a way down the order. Let's have a little look at the replay. Was it on his own? A little bit wider. The apex lit up the rears and was unable to catch it, but good job for managing to keep it out of the way of the racetrack and out of the barrier as well.
Yeah, he did the right thing coming off the brake and just letting it run backwards, getting out of the way. That was another big slide. That might have been the oil, actually. You know, we saw, if it was oil, but we saw some fluid being leaked. Maybe that's why we've seen a few slides there.
Yeah, that was Julian Draper sliding around in the number 22, and a very good save there. So that hasn't slowed down this front pack, though. They're still battling on, but Davison stretched his legs again, Ben. He is 1.3 seconds ahead of Hall.
In the McLaren Chevrolet M1B with its 5.7 litre engine, we've still got this battle for second, and Ollie Bryant getting a bit more involved. Meanwhile, Peter Klutt coming under a bit of pressure here from Richard Mines in the other GT40. So Richard, this is one of the last Mark 1 road cars sent to the United States and was raced in the United States, so more history to some of these GT40s, but is he going to find a way past Peter Klutt? Meanwhile, there's the race for second.
And just looking out the window, this duo here caught up some traffic in the middle of the chicane, and look what it's done to the time. That has allowed Davison to stretch his legs even further and pull away. 2.7 seconds now, but it was right in the middle of the chicane, so they'll be hoping that get their bad traffic out of the way, and Davison gets a dose of it now.
Early days of aerodynamics in sports car racing with these Can-Am cars. You can see that the little sort of wing on the back end of the car, providing downforce. The front end as well, the spoilers. It was the time that spoilers really became... Oh, no! Oh, my goodness! Off goes Julian Draper, number 22. Oh, how frustrating. What a shame. I think Julian's okay. So, let's see. Did Hall back off somewhere here? Well, we got a bit slidey, bit sideways, yeah. He did actually go a bit too wide, and Ollie Bryant took advantage.
Yeah, took good advantage there. So here, just get a swap on as Julian loses the rear on the way in. And that can go the one way, you catch it or you don't. Unfortunately for him, wasn't able to catch it, and this is the moment you brace yourself. Hits into the tyre barrier, really nasty hit there, but thankfully he is okay. That is the main thing.
Yeah, he's out of the car down at Madrick, and the yellow flags are out. The safety car is on track. No surprise, because it's going to take a few minutes to get that car out of the way, especially as it's damaged the rear suspension. And he'll be feeling a bit low about that. But it's going to make for a close race. Of course, we will still have some lapped cars in the group up front, so that might still make it a much easier situation for the race leader, James Davison. We'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, just looking there on the screen, it looks like that Bryant and Hall were able to get past those lap cars before the safety car came out. So I think they'll all be together, but that's such a sad sight to see, isn't it, Ben? There's a lot of damage to that car, the number 22, the Lola Chevrolet. Huge.
There's our race leader. There is one car in between him and Ollie Bryant, so that is going to make life a bit tricky on the restart, isn't it?
There is, and I think there looks like there might be a car in between Bryant and Hall as well. Have a better look. No, well, I think there was. No, there is.
Yeah, the number 9 car, that's right. That is in that mix as well, because the number 9 car a bit further down in the order. So that will make a difference. That's Richard Mines in his GT40. We was watching him play a little bit earlier on, and yeah, that's going to make it could split out the top 3 a little bit more actually when we get the restart going. We'll just have to wait and see. Lights on for Tony Sinclair, who's actually now in 5th position, and Katsu Kubota, who's in that lovely yellow Lotus T30, he's up in 7th position. And of course they are all going to be, some of that group are going to be bunched up together without cars in between them. So we could well see some changes when this race restarts.
Yeah, we certainly could. Definitely could. There were some close battles continuing throughout the field prior to the safety car coming out. So wherever you look, there were close battles. Davison will hope that those lap cars will do him a favour. The back markers will do him a bit of a favour and maybe not get out the way in a hurry. But hopefully for us, they will, and we can have resume some close racing up there at the front.
It is quite fun to see the lap times they're doing. 1:19.5 is the fastest we've got. Remember that the lap record held here at Goodwood, set by Jim Clark and tied with Jackie Stewart, as he was then, Sir Jackie Stewart, as we saw him earlier on. They did a 1:20.4 in the Formula 1 days here at Goodwood when it was a current race track for them. We're under that with a 1:19.5 in these Can-Am sports cars with their mighty powerful motors.
Yeah, and these cars ended up proving really too fast for the circuit back then. Obviously safety has come a long way. Jackie was a big part of that, as we touched on in his tribute earlier on, but the safety of this circuit has massively increased, as has most circuits around the world, so that's why we're able. I actually think, just looking at the background there, Ben, it looks like one of the lap cars has just peeled into the pits. So I wondered actually, is that the safety car driver saying pull over to the side so we can stay away from the recovery? But yeah, it looks like we might have one of the cars peeled into the pit lane there that was in between Bryant and Hall.
The car that is in between the top 2 at the moment is Keith Harless, who's a very experienced historic racer. He owns a few wonderful classic cars. He's a lover of motorsport there. The number 29, so that's Keith Harless, a real gentleman in the world of motorsport, who I've known for a long, long time. And he's enjoying being out in his Cooper Ford T61. This actually, it's a Cooper with a 4.7 litre American engine, so it's one of the sort of less common of the style of sports cars at Cooper. There weren't so many of these Coopers, but it's lovely to see. with its Ford V8 motor, but it's not as quick as those McLarens that are around him. It was an earlier car as well. Keith is experienced. He won't want to be in the way, but there's not a lot he can do, because when they all launch, Jamie, of course, will just go for it, and you know, he'll accelerate. Keith will accelerate at the same time, but James may just have that pace to be able to pull away, and Ollie won't be able to overtake him until over the line.
Yeah, exactly that. So we'll have to take a look and see what approach that he chooses to take. But if I was James Davison there leading the front of the field, I would know that, and I'd be like, right, I need to get just a good restart. Nothing too special, nothing too spectacular, knowing that they can't pass that lap car until the line. So he doesn't need to try and outfox anybody, because he's definitely still got the pace, even though he doesn't hold the fastest lap of the race. That is with Oliver Bryant, who is, of course, in P2 with a 119.5.
Going down the Levant Straight, which is lovely to see. And I had a note earlier from the chair of the British Motorsports Marshals Club, Nadine Lewis, who's down there. She's working with her husband Ian on the Levant Straight as the marshals this weekend, and it's Ian's 65th birthday today.
Aww.
So happy birthday to Ian. And they're marshalling down on that Levant Straight. I don't know whether they were in the area where Paul Karun had that incident, because I don't know if it was that section or if they're further down, but maybe I'll find out later. But yeah, happy birthday to Ian.
Happy birthday, Ian. And a big shout out to all the marshals that are around the circuit, that are in the assembly area, through the paddock as well. As you can see, Julian Draper's car is being removed, and there's some marshals. They're getting a well-earned sit-down, a well-earned break, but we wouldn't be racing here, would we, without them, Ben? It is very, very hot out there. Yeah. So thank you to all the marshals for the fantastic job that you always do. Yeah,
and they will have been very warm today, wearing the marshals kit, of course, as you can see. So, yeah, hands up to all the marshals who do such a fabulous job here at Goodwood, all around the world, of course, but particularly in the UK. We have a tremendous group of marshals, the BARC marshals, the British Motorsports Marshals Club, various different groups, but they all do a fabulous job as volunteers to come along and look after motor racing, look after drivers, try and keep them safe as much as possible, solve problems, get cars out of the way, and yeah, it's fabulous to have them doing a great job this weekend. So we have heard that there's going to be a little extension in the time of the race to make up this safety car period.
Yep, an extra 3 minutes, we're being told in our ears, is being added to the race time, so it's great news. Maybe not so much for James Davison. He was probably hoping for the time to stay the same, but great news for those behind that are wanting to progress up the field, as I think we'll probably have another lap, maybe a couple of laps behind the safety car still, with the marshals recovering the car down there. And it's quite hard to recover it there. Unfortunately, they've had to sort of drag it up onto that flatbed there, and you could see the marshals doing a good job with making sure they've got fire extinguishers at hand, strapping the car down so its safety can be dragged away. So great job.
Yeah, it is tricky when a car's damaged like this to get it out of the way without damaging it further. They will do their best, but they've got to get it out of the way as quickly as they can so that we can get the race underway again. So it's always a bit of a challenge, isn't it?
It is, but the marshals have extensive training, of course, volunteers as well, and the training and the effort that they put in to learn how to recover cars, use the flags, know many of the rules as well as wearing on hot days all the marshalling kit and safety boots they've got to wear. So it's not an easy job. As they say, it's not just standing there waving a flag. There's a lot for these marshals to learn.
Safety car at beautiful E-Type is going to be staying out there for a little bit longer yet as they try and rescue and get that car out of the way. And we'll see another little gaggle of machinery trying to find extra positions. This will give everybody a new chance. When you've been getting into a race for quite a few minutes, as we were, there was a bit of space in a lot of areas. Now, of course, it's all going to be very closed up, so we could see some feisty battles all the way through. The number one car just going through, Joachim Rousseau. He's in the Ford GT40. And this car was a winner of the Barcelona race back in 1968, that car. So that has great history itself. So much history to all this machinery. So they've got it fully loaded on the truck now at onto the level state, and they will be able to get it out of the way fairly quickly. There's an area that they can take the car off to into a place of safety. So it may be that next time around, I wonder if the safety car is going to get the note that they can be released.
Yeah, let's hope so. I think the barrier seemed okay. That's all fixed up, ready to go. They are coming out of St Mary's now. We wait to see if the safety car lights will... Other race series haven't we? Pretty late lights off. So hopefully we can get underway racing very quickly. And there you go, as you mentioned, Ben, there's a little pull off there for the truck to reverse into, and then it will eventually take the car back. But the lights, ladies and gents, are off on the safety car, so we'll be back underway very shortly.
We are getting ready then for the restart of this race. The safety car is heading back towards its position to get out of the way, and then we will be back to racing. Now, what you've got to watch, though, is James Davison, the leader, doing lots of weaving around here, making sure his tyres are up to temperature. The car that is behind him is not in the battle for the lead. The number 29 car you're looking at is way down the list, but he will not want to be in the way. Keith Arler's very experienced racer, slower car. What he's got to watch out for is Ollie Bryant right behind him, who wants to try and make the ground. But look at this, exactly as I thought. James has just nailed it really quickly, and he's going to go for it. This is going to give him an opportunity to open up the gap. Now Ollie Bryant will go past Keith Arlers, who's waved him through, but actually Ollie's under a bit of pressure now from Stuart Hall.
Yeah, he is, and they're all just getting round the outside. Brave stuff there from Stuart Hall, but the gap is already, Ben, 2.3 seconds between Davison and Bryant, so that was a really good restart. So a lot of work to do by Ollie Bryant and Stuart Hall. Remember, Ollie does have the fastest lap, so the number 3 car makes a diversion off the road. That car's down in 22nd place. It's Bailey behind the wheel.
Yeah, Marshall Bailey just put a wheel on the grass. I think he's got away with that okay, being chased down by Sean Lynn, number 13 there, as they get together, and hopefully he can get the confidence back that he's not going to run wide through the next section as they go through St Mary's. But yeah, that really was a good start by James Davison. He really attacked the chicane. He really went for it hard into the chicane, and Keith Arler's just lost a bit of pace. Oh, Katsu nearly running into the back of another car there.
Yeah, that was getting very, very close there. But looking at the timing screen, Ben, Ollie Bryant has set a very, very good middle sector, so he is already trying to close that gap down, and actually he's dragging Stuart Hall with him. And there you go on the screen. That gap looks smaller than 2.3 seconds.
Just over 4 minutes to go. So can Ollie Bryant close up this gap? 1.4 as he crossed the line this time, 1.475. Can he close that down? We've got a little bit of time, but he's going to have to nail it. Ollie's very experienced here at Goodwood. He's raced this car plenty of times. He won in it last time in 2022. Can he get it back? That's the question.
I think he can. He's looking pretty handy. He's looking pretty fast, but he's lost actually a few tenths in that first sector. But overall, Davison seems to have the legs on those two behind in that first sector. It's the middle and last sector that's not so much. So we'll keep a close eye on the sectors and keep everyone up to date.
Katsu Kubota still running at the moment in 7th place, a little further down. John Spears, who had that problem earlier on, but is still running with the car. In fact, no, that wasn't. That was Matthew Wurr we were looking at. Meanwhile, Keith Arler's keeping out of the way. Tony Sinclair just getting past him. Tony in 5th position, but it's all pretty tight right in there, and he's still under a bit of pressure from Adam Sykes just behind him as well.
Sector update now. Fastest middle sector of the race. Oliver Bryant with a 33.3 and then Davison at a 33.8. So let's have a little look as they cross the line. 1.2 seconds, and Bryant has set another fastest lap of the race.
Oh, Tony Sinclair to defend from Adam Sykes there. You're watching Tony Sinclair, number 5, the red and green car, and it's being chased hard by Adam Sykes right now in the McLaren M1. Let's see if Tony's going to be able to defend, and as you say, also up front, Davison's still in front, but only by 1.2 seconds, so still to play for with 2 minutes, 2.25 minutes to go in this race. And Kubota giving the Lotus a bit of a slide around.
He is showing off there through turn 1. Great car control as he heads through Ford Water now, and then brings it down the hill and then up the hill once again into St Mary's. So some great display of driving here, and some close battles really wherever you look, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. But I tell you what, Davison is doing a good job up front on that first sector, isn't he?
Yeah, really good. He's stretched the gap, I would say, by the time he comes across the line. All depends on that last sector. They've matched each other in that middle sector, but he really has done Davison's done the best first sector of anybody on this previous lap. So I wonder if he's just managing the gap. There he goes, crossing the line. What's the gap now? 2 seconds. And he has just set the fastest lap of the race. He's the first driver to dip into the 118s.
That's pretty clever stuff, I have to say. He's doing a wonderful job here, James Davison. Right from the start of this race, when he started from 3rd place on the outside of the front row, he charged into the lead, and he has kept the balance perfectly. There's been some good battling behind him between Ollie Bryant and Stuart Hall, but James has had the edge, and as you say, putting in a fastest lap right now. What a perfect time to do it.
Yeah, that first sector from Davison is absolutely mighty, but like you said, Ben, a great time to pop in the fastest lap of the race, doing an absolutely stellar job. He's got the visor ever so slightly over with a little bit of airflow, because he's working a lot behind that wheel. You can see from there, using every inch of the road and constantly working the hands of the wheel. He is absolutely ragging this car. He's ragging the McLaren Chevy there as he comes now and stamps on the brakes into Woodcote corner, keeps it nice and smooth through there, bleeds it out to the outside, and then you've got the last chicane coming in, and he's just, with 20 seconds left on the clock, we're going to have one more racing lap.
Well, this is a great display. He's in Brad Hoyt's car. Brad Hoyt was originally going to race this car in this race because he didn't think his other car was going to be raced, and then they finally got everything done. So Brad is actually out in one of his other cars in one of the other races, and so James suddenly got this shout, you can drive the McLaren in the Whitsun Trophy, and he's certainly doing a great job of it, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. As we're looking now at battles further on down the field, we've got some of the Ford GT40s there that get pretty hot without hot weather. So I can imagine racing in those today is pretty warm. We'll have a little look down the inside. No, that's the number 13 having a look down the inside. Yeah, Sean Lynn having a look at the chicane, thought better of it.
Trying to get past Ian Simmons, so the car in front of him, they are lapping the first car, 29, but Ian Simmons 117, that's the one that Lynn is trying to get past, and now of course there's a car between them, so that's going to cost a bit of time.
That will, but Sean Lynn's will know he needs to clear this traffic quickly, as he's going to go down the inside there at Fordwater, and now he can get his head up and set his sights further down the road. But there, coming across through the final chicane bend, will be our race winner.
James Davison is coming through to take victory in the Whitsun Trophy in the McLaren after a brilliant race, a good start, and then perfect planning. Even on the restart, he did it extremely well, taking fastest lap on the last lap but one. And he's done a super job here today at Goodwood to take the final race victory of the day. We've still got some battles going on, and Kubota's car is smoking badly. That looks like engine smoke to me. Is he going to make it to the flag? Tony Sinclair in the red and green machine, the number 5, Lola T70. I think he's going to come home in 5th place. 4th place has already gone the way of Andrew Haddon. Yeah, Andrew Haddon's 4th. Tony Sinclair in 5th place. And 6th place. Oh, look at the battles that are going on further behind. This is still all very tight. All
very tight. The yellow flag is out, though. I wonder why that is. Have we got a car off somewhere on the exit? So they're all very good and kept to the regulations. And Sean Lynn just holds on. It's Kubota's car.
Yeah, it's Kubota. Oh, he didn't make it to the checkered flag. We saw the smoke coming out of the back of it. What a shame when you're on the very last lap and then he has to pull the car out of the way. Oh, I do feel for him, as he was on for a decent result there in the Lotus 30. But more help from the marshals, and he's going to get it.
Marshal off there.